folks, and welcome to the Pinal Prep Spotlight, brought to you by Jones Ford Buick GMC, your hometown dealer for more than 50 years. Again, like we did last year, joining me to kick things off for our winter sports season is Joey Chenoweth. He might not cover as much sports, but he is still pretty much our Pinal County resident expert in all things Coolidge. And because we are talking basketball, obviously we're going to be talking Coolidge. Looking at this year's team, they're trying to bounce back from last year's state title run where they came up just short. And Joey, they have a lot of guys coming back for them. You know, what can we kind of expect from this Coolidge team and Dave Glasgow?
Well, only two players have graduated from last year. That was MJ Clegg and Pratt, one of their sharpshooters from last season. So they have a lot of returning players, a lot of experience now, a lot of playoff experience coming back. You know, when Coolidge gets a top talent like Carlos Coronado or Brandon Gann, you know, their fans' butts tend to clench a little bit because, you know, they fear that these talents might get stolen away from a bigger school. But when you bring in Dave Glasgow, one of the things they're kind of counting on is that he's not only gonna have parents trust him with their kids, but they're gonna want to stick around and see what they can do with them. And so you do have Brandon Gant back, who's one of the best forwards in the state at this point. You have Carlos Coronado back to lead the team as a point guard. Now he's only a sophomore, but he's, like I said, he led the team to the state championship game last year. And you know, with point guards, it takes some time to develop, to not make, you know, the dumb play every now and then. So expect big things from him. Now, what they are missing because of the players that they graduated is a little bit of shooting, a little bit of playmaking. So they got guys like Omar Miguel, Jacob Bajorquez, players like that hoping to step up. You know, like with Pratt last year, he barely played the year before that, his junior year. Came in as a senior. Glasgow figured out how to make him into a player who was by the end of the season making game-winning shots in the playoffs. So if they can just get a little bit of shooting out of their role players, if somebody can step up and help Coronado with the playmaking duties, you know, this is a team that should probably not be any worse than they were last year. If anything, they should be better. And the only team that they lost to in the playoffs last year lost their main players, so they might be a favorite to win the championship this year.
Yeah, continuing on with Coolidge, other guys we kind of got to point out are Drew Madrid. He kind of helps them spread out on the court, and then also Belklem Namigabe. Belklem had a fantastic start in that state title game. You know, he was pretty much their go-to guy on offense and had everything clicking for him. Looking for him to have another big year and just kind of continue off of that run that started last year. Another team that we need to be on the lookout for. Pretty much all of our eggs are going to be in this 3A South Central region, and that also includes ALA Ironwood. And looking at Ironwood, much like Coolidge, their playoff journey last year was ended by Valley Christian. But the bright side for them is that they also garnered that playoff experience, and they have some key players coming back. Their main guy is Corey Wood, a really tall, lengthy guy, and you know, well, he's not really much their go-to rebounder. It's because he does a really good job of spreading out the floor, and he's a really tremendous three-point shooter. Joey, what else can we kind of expect from Ironwood?
Well, not sure how the depth is going to be. They beat Payson pretty easily, but they only had 5 players playing the whole game. So you know, whereas Coolidge manages to bring new players in all the time. They are relying on their starting 5. However, their starting 5 all seem to be doing their part. In that game, we had 3 players reach 20 points. The aforementioned Corey Wood, Jackson Chapman, and Tony Willis. It's all about length with them. They're going to give a lot of teams problems, especially in 3A when not a lot of teams have a lot of height, a lot of wingspan. You know, it's a big advantage in 3A if you can just have that guy in the paint ready to swat away any shot. Because you know, a lot of 3A teams also lack shooting, and so they just constantly try to drive to the rim. And Ironwood's able to protect that rim pretty well. And so It frustrates a lot of teams because they're like, well, we don't really have a plan B here except to just hope that the shots go in. So when you play like that, your floor is really high. We'll see how high their ceiling can be when it comes to playoff time. Remember, they were leading Valley Christian at halftime in the playoffs last year, and that's the team that eventually won the championship. So they definitely have potential. If they're going to make a deep playoff run, it probably would be nice to have more than 5 guys playing significant minutes. Or you're going to get tired at some point. But expect big things out of this region again.
All right, now transitioning over to the girls' side. Again, we got to remain in 3A, and we got to talk about the Coolidge girls. Now, coming off of last year, they lost one of their staples in the program in Brooklyn Pablo, who graduated. And the big question for all of us coming in is, what does a Coolidge team look like without a Brooklyn Pablo? Well, although it's early on in the season, they're not looking half bad. And one of the big reasons is their freshman sensation in Nalissa Charles. And Joey, what can we say about this Coolidge team?
Well, so, obviously losing Brooklyn Pablo, she's going to go down as one of the best female players in Coolidge history. She was just dynamite on the floor. But one of the things about a player like that is she takes a lot of possessions. Everything kind of runs through her, and that doesn't give a lot of opportunities to a lot of other players. Now that she's gone, it's going to open up a lot of those opportunities. Now they also lost Chelsea Downs, whose dad Corey took the head coaching job of the Vista Grande boys basketball team. She was another person who can make plays, but the coach Aaron Monteverde, he always told me that this young group of kids coming up now for the team is as good as they've ever had in recent years, and we're certainly seeing that with Charles. We're certainly with Amira Miguel made some big strides her freshman year last year. Now she's a sophomore again. She's playing point guard. And again, playing point guard takes time. It takes time, and no matter how good you are, you see that at every level of basketball. You gotta get used to the fast pace of the next level, and so I think she'll be great at distributing the ball, handling the ball, and hopefully they'll create some new chemistry now that Pablo is gone.
All right, and one additional team on the girls' side, we got to go up to 4A, and we have to talk about Poston Butte. Now, for me, this is the girls' team to watch in Pinal County. Much like the Coolidge boys, they are the experienced ones here. This is head coach Savannah Zbick's 5th season. Her senior trio in Kyla Fowler and the Bachman sisters, Helena and Adriana, have pretty much been the backbone for this Poston Butte team throughout their whole turnaround and making those postseason runs early on. They're looking to take things a step further and get that elusive first round win. They have a fantastic supporting cast around them. The thing about this Poston Butte team is it's not just about one player. It's the whole team effort, and the stats won't show like that leading scorer that's scoring 20 plus points, because everybody does their little piece. They all know their jobs and they do it tremendously. Additionally, not really newcomers since they've been around last year, like Samira Gray and Julia Harris. Samira Gray has taken over the starting point guard position, and she does a fantastic job of facilitating the ball to all these different players. And then looking at Julia Harris, I call her the epitome of what this Poston Butte basketball team is, which is gritty. She does all the dirty work for them. She'll throw herself on the floor to get that loose ball. She'll wrestle you for a rebound, for possession, and that's pretty much this whole Poston Butte team's mindset. They are going to frustrate you, they're going to annoy you, they're going to be up in your face about it, and looking at 4A, this is kind of what you need. The new rule now is that, hey, we have an open division in basketball, and they're going to be taking the top 8 teams in 6A, 5A, and 4A, that are going to be moving up. So whether Poston Butte does come up in those top 8 or not, hey, this is just going to help their chances of making that deeper postseason run. Joey, overall, is there anything else you want to add?
So you need two. So in order to be a competent team like Savannah Brooks' team is every year, you need to play good defense. You need to get easy shots, and she has a system in place where she's able to bring in new players all the time who are able to do just that. You talk about the grit; they're able to play defense in a way that frustrates other teams. And when you can frustrate high school players, good things happen because the high school players tend to melt a little bit. And her teams very rarely melt, and because they play that defense and they're able to get to the rim pretty regularly. And if you're able to just do those two things, you're just going to be competent. Again, we're going to see kind of like an ALA Ironwood. We're going to see a pretty high floor here with this team. We're going to we're going to see if the playmaking and the shooting is enough to raise that ceiling to a true playoff contender to go deep into February. But if they're able to get some shooting down and really put some points together, that defense is going to take them pretty far.
All right, and that does it for this week's episode of Pinal Prep Spotlight. Be sure to tune into Pinal Central all season long for all of your winter sports coverage.